Welcome back to In the Red Corner podcast with me, Ross. I hope everyone's well this evening. Saturday night, where else would you be but here? Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Tonight, I'm joined by the main event that was Mr. Paul Venis. Unbelievable. We almost got a podcast sorted before the show. Didn't quite work out with timings and everything like that, but that's what happens sometimes. But I've been trying to get him on for years and it's finally happened. But what a performance from Paul. I can't say too much more about it. We'll talk to Paul about it, and let's just get him in, shall we? I want to give a big shout out to Cloud Competitions, the sponsor of the podcast as well, before we go anywhere. They've got a competition at the moment where you can win £500. It costs zero, costs nothing to enter, and that's it. You know, enter, you could win £500. And other amazing competitions they've got on there as well. So go and give them a follow. We've got there, Rick Doherty. Yes, Ross. Yes, Rick. How are you doing, my man? I hope you're well. Great to see you on here as always, mate. But yes, let's bring Paul in now. Paul, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, brother. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. Finally got you. Finally reeled you in.
No. Been a long time coming. Time's been a nightmare, Nick. Do you know what I mean? I'm on my side, to be fair, mate.
Of course it does. I'm just a tit with a podcast, and you've got a fight camp to train for. So that's how I see it. So
yeah,
yes, Paul.
Thank you very much, mate.
Sharon Clellan saying, evening, Ross, Paul, and chat. What an amazing night it was last Saturday. It was an amazing night, Sharon. You're absolutely right. Sharon got a couple of pictures with you, I think, and she was very happy to see you there. As always.
Big shout out to Sharon.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable night, and finally you got to make your BKFC debut. A long time coming.
Yeah.
How does it feel to finally be able to release it all in the ring?
Feels good, mate. Feels good. I think what made it more satisfying is because, you know, this has been like 6-7 years humming and ahhing, Shalashana. Not just about the BKFC, but Shalashana fight, because if you've ever competed on the level that I've competed at, or if you've even just stepped in there a couple of times, it never leaves you because there's no buzz like it. There's no feeling like it, you know, and it never leaves you. It never, ever leaves you. So you're always obsessed with it. You're always thinking about it. It's always in the back of your mind, you know. And then when the BKFC come about, and I've been involved with the BKFs, well, not involved, but I've been like around Danny Christie, you know, Aggie Faulkner, Jack Drake. We've been around these guys who've been involved with the bare knuckle stuff, and, you know, Then Baker reaching out to me, and I've been over and out for a long time about it. So to finally get in there and compete, I mean, look, it went my way. It was a brilliant fight. I really enjoyed myself. But even if I'd lost, I'd have still been feeling probably not as happy, but like relieved, like with a bit of relief to go. Listen, I've done it. I've arrived. I'm here. I'm competing. Like, let's have it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
One quick mention that I need to say before Lou Hughes just had his baby girl today. My friend, your friend, everyone's friend. Lou Hughes, congratulations, mate. Absolutely buzzing over the moon for your baby girl. That's his fourth now. Well, he's 2 girls, 2 boys, but that's his 4th child now.
Yeah, congratulations, Lou. Fucking diamond of a lad, local lad as well. A good friend of mine. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, the show, I'm still buzzing from it, to be honest. That card was probably the best card I've seen. I remember, you know, I remember watching you backstage, and it was when Pick's fight was going on. You're in the zone. I was kind of telling you what was going on with Pick's fight and stuff like that. The crowd were roaring and things. But I remember you practicing a left hand, and it was the left hand that you caught just as you got on the runway as well. Your music was playing, Sweet Caroline was singing, the crowd was bouncing, and then you threw this left hand and just went, fuck off. And that was it. You started walking towards the ring, and that left hand was the one that connected. Was that something that you were practicing?
Well, no. Well, it's my favorite. To be fair, it's my favorite shot. The lead left hook. You know, I generate a lot of power, even though it doesn't look like it. I generate a lot of power. I have a lot of torque in it, and not only that, if it doesn't work with the left hand, I can always throw the right. You know, so my left hook. The lead left hook, the jumping left hook, is one of my favourite shots, you know, and I swear by it. You know, I've always flung it, even in K1. It's always been a good shot for me to set things up. And 9 times out of 10, when it does land and it lands flush, it's usually generating enough power to take them off the feet. So, I do enjoy that left hook, yeah.
When I got to the hotel in the morning as well, and you were outside, and we were talking and things, and you were like, "Oh fucking hell!" Like you were there. You know what I mean? You were.
Yeah,
It was all
yeah,
inside, and it was all building up. You said I was up at 2 o'clock this morning, shadow boxing and stuff, and it was
yeah.
like,
To be fair, like, look, when I used to fight back in the day, you know, I always got nervous. I got nervous through camp, but the nerves when as there were nothing like how I felt, leading up to this BKFC. I mean, I was nervous as soon as I signed the contract. As soon as I signed the contract, I sat there. I was like, "Whoa, what have I done?" Whoa. You know, and all the way through camp, I was nervous. All the way through camp, I was sitting talking to my coach, Mark Down, and saying, you know, I can do this, can I? And I'm like, not so much reassuring myself because I know what I'm capable of and I know what I am, but it was like doing the right thing in your hand. And like, yeah, of course you have, fucking hell, you know. But I never had to reassure myself like that back in the K1 days. It was more like, you know, I had to do it then. Do you know what I mean? It was setting me free from a certain lifestyle when I was choosing. You know, I've got a good life now. I didn't need to compete in the BKFC. Didn't need to fight again. But there's just something in me that felt like I had to. I really fucking had to. You know, but the nerves were fucking crazy nerves. But I generated a lot of belief, a lot of power, a lot of, you know, a lot of energy from them nerves. You know, something that I've never ever harnessed. I've harnessed so much in all my life. You know, like you said, there I was awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, walking around the hotel room, you know, ready to fight at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, looking in the shadow box, and I stayed awake from 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean? I didn't go back to bed. I went down, got me breakfast. My opponent was eating breakfast across the room. I was eyeballing him and, you know, giving him a nod. We shook hands and, you know, let's go to war. And luckily enough, I fell asleep about 1 o'clock. I didn't wake up till about 4:30. So I'd had enough sleep. I was like, you know, I rejuvenated myself and I was ready to go. But funny enough, you know, when I got in the changing rooms, you know, and I was in the changing room on my own, Danny Christie had went down, then Pick Jardine had went down, and I was just left on my own, just me and my coaches. And it was mad because the nerves just went. They just left me, and it was go time, and I just felt this energy of excitement and, you know, buzz, this buzz that I had. I just couldn't wait to get out there. I just knew how the night was going to go. I knew what I was capable of, and I knew, you know, listen, take nothing away from my opponent. I knew 100% that opponent was worthy to be in there with me. I knew he had the power. I knew he had the strength. You know, might not be as good a striking as me, but, you know, his background around combat sports, you know, even the commentators said it themselves, you know, he's one of the best MMA fighters to come out of Bulgaria, you know, and I knew this of him, you know. People could say what they want about Stanoy, but I know for a fact that man was a worthy opponent, you know, and will continue to be anyone's worthy opponent on the BKFC roster. You know, he's strong, he was powerful, and I knew what to expect. But that's why I come out a total different fighter. If you notice, like, if you watch my old footage of my fighting, I'm more of a Frankenstein type, you know, walk forward, getting it, you know, wanting to land my one, priding myself on how hard I can get it. Straight away, I just took a step to the right. I was moving well. I was light on my feet. You know, I was calculated. You know, I wasn't rushing anything. You know, as people might look at that and think, he wasn't moving his head, he was getting it. I wasn't getting it. Like, look, anyone who does a three round fucking bare knuckle fight, black and blue, I hardly had a scratch on me. I had one scratch on my head. That was it.
Yeah.
I hardly had a scratch on me. Anyone who went past the first round on that night, they looked like Kung Fu Panda. Yeah. You know, I never had a mark on me. I never had a scratch on me. My opponent went straight to the hospital after the fight. Spent the night in the hospital. I done fucking well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never got hit much. I got caught. I got dropped. You know, fair play to him, but I was fucking sound. I was sound. The game plan went well. It would have been perfect game plan, i.e., if I never got caught and never got dropped. But other than that, perfect night of fighting for me. You know, it couldn't have went any better. Yeah.
Yeah, it was unreal. And Stanoy is no fool. Definitely, you know, a tough man. I had him on the podcast, and I think, if I remember rightly, was it Jackson Winky said he was training at and stuff over in the United States? And
I watched it. He trained with Michael Bisping, Rampage Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I knew what he was. I'd already done the research on him. I knew he was a good fighter. I knew it was a tough fight for me, first fight, you know. So hats off to him. Massive respect to Stanley, you know. And like I said, like I knew what I was capable of. And I just thought, you know what, I'm a tough fight for anyone, Paul. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. But just know one thing: you're going to give it your all. And what more can I ask for? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good night. I enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Kev Thompson in the chat there from WBKB, one of the partners of the WBKB. Shout out, Kev. I'd like to say, why do we put ourselves through? But I know why Paul explained it, the 1% club. Absolutely right, the 1% club, there's only people can talk as much as they want and say what they want, but there's only that 1%. It's probably not even that. And I said this to Kev last night. I said it's probably 0.1% of the 1%.
It is. It's less than 1%, but it's like, look, the nerves that I felt, and like I spoke to you about earlier on, it was like they're enough to render a man powerless. They're enough to make you run, enough to make you bail, enough to make any normal man, shit himself. But us as fighters who belong in a ring or cage, we harness them. We can turn them into superpowers. The reason we're nervous is because we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to lose. We don't want to get knocked out. So what do? We turn them into a superpower, into an eternal energy where we'll do anything in our power not to let that happen. I.e., that's why training camps are so fucking grueling and so hard, because of them nerves and because of that energy that we feel. And then on fight night, it's all comes into play because of them nerves, because of the fear, because of the adrenaline. Brilliant, man, absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's not, look, I come from a life of addiction, don't I? I come from, drug taking and alcohol and obsession and all that drug stuff. But this fighting, it beats any type of drug I've ever took in my life. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I do it. It's my new addiction. It's my new drug.
It's one of the things it's one of the things I love talking to fighters about, is the fighter's mindset, and that's what this channel's about, really. Trying to get into the fighter's mindset and things like that. And I spoke to many BKFC lads and bare knuckle fighters and things like that, and it's always the big rise up to the fight. And then who did I have on the other night? You were in the chat. It was Beamish. I had Beam on the other night. And, it's always the big rise up to the fight. Everything's going, the nerves and energy. And then you have the fight. And then it's almost a bit of, a come down, like a adrenaline dump. And there's kind of nothing. What did you kind of combat with yourself? I know you've got a great support system in your family and everything like that. Did you put any steps in place to kind of combat that?
Well, yeah. So I'm massively spiritual these days. You know what I mean? I do everything I possibly can to keep this from conquering me. Because I am my own worst enemy. Hence the reason why I fight. Hence the reason why I put myself through grueling camps while I dare to be great. I put my life on the line because of this. There definitely has to be something wrong. 9 times out of 10, most fighters you talk to, especially bare knuckle fighters, they're definitely not wired up right. There's something definitely wrong with their fucking brain. But with me, I have the ability now to conquer that side of my brain, what tells me that, I'm no good, I'm a piece of shit, you don't deserve this, you don't deserve that, because that's what happens after a fight. When I start to decline after adrenaline, my mind wants to chase something else. It wants to tell me, it wants to fill me with low self-esteem and low self-worth, and that's where that adrenaline dump comes from. But I have the ability now and the power to give that shit to God. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ can set me free from that. And that every single morning, I can wake up, I can pray, I can meditate, I can do a gratitude list. I can understand what's more important, to me than even fighting. Do you know what I mean? And it helps me get grateful for what I am, what I've achieved, and what the rest of the day can bring. It's the spirituality side for me what sets me free from that shit, because most fighters need God. You listen to all the boxers. 9 times out of 10, boxers are giving their life thanking Jesus, thanking God. Whatever their God may be. Some are Muslim, some are whatever. UFC fighters are always giving thanks to God, because they need that. They need to believe in something greater than themselves, something powerful than themselves, because it protects them from themselves. In my opinion, that's what that is. And if I can have the power and the courage to give the will of my life over to God, especially after fighting, I know I'm safe. I know I don't need to worry about where the next buzz is coming from, where my next adrenaline rush is coming from. I can just accept it. I can live with it, and I can be comfortable in the now, being bored, being chilled, it's one of the things I've really struggled with, being bored, being chilled. I've always got itchy feet. I've always had to do something mad. When today's not like that. It's all grace of God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've struggled with food this week. I've knocked myself fucking bad. Food. Just showed you, haven't I? Look, I've got 105. Look at that. What's going on? But but believe it or not, we can laugh about that, mate. But my issue can be food as well. That's another thing that I need to conquer as well. It's my head's telling me, oh, you ate too much, or go throw up, or stop eating, starve yourself. But in hindsight, you know what? Look, just enjoy yourself for this week, Paul. Have a bit of food, fix yourself around the food. Let your obsession and your addiction eat yourself silly, because it's back to the drawing board Monday. I'm back in the gym Monday. I'm back with my nutritionist Monday. I'm back with my fucking boxing coach Monday. So enjoy yourself. But yeah.
I was going to say that, you're coaching everything. You're coaching everything that you've been with, and you put a great post out for them, and it's nice to see that I'm not saying that you ever would or anything, but you want to bring people with you rather than just go on your own kind of thing. It's about the team and not just about you.
Oh, definitely. Well, look, my coaches and my team are a product of that night. If I was just doing road work and fitness and still training with K1 coaches, mate, I'd have walked straight into that right hand. He'd have probably dropped me a little bit earlier. I'd have probably been bust up. I reckon I'd have still won, but it probably would have been a lot more difficult. That night is a product of the coaches that I'm working with. Mark Downing, Stewie James, Paul Truscott. These guys are students of the game. Mark Downland's still fighting, still a pro boxer. Paul Truscott, former Commonwealth title holder. Stewie James, he works with a lot of kids. He's involved with the GB squad. These guys have said, look, this is what you need to do. Step to the side. Just drills. And I think I did them all proud, because just being able to step up the centre line and take my time with the fight, instead of trying. Sometimes my worst enemy is my power, because I know I've got a good strong power. I can go hunting for it, and get caught, but I just drew. My coaches have just drilled, especially Mark Down, and the work that I've done with him. Look, just take your time; it'll come. You don't need to rush anything. Just take your time, and that's exactly what we did. And yeah, fucking credit to my coaches, man. Credit to my team. Massive credit to my team.
Yeah, and it shows that you are a veteran of the fight game and things like that. With what was it, 31 fights? Is it in K1? 32 fights in K1. It shows a high, fight IQ. It really does. That you don't have to go rush it, because you find a lot of fighters. The most relaxed fighters I find are the ones that usually come out on top. When everyone's pent up and just going for it. They're the ones that can maybe get caught and things like that. I mean, don't get us wrong, we'll talk about that. You did get caught and things like that, but you showed that you've got, you've got that dog inside you to kind of get back up, shake it off, and still continue to fight on. Yeah.
I mean, look, thank you to Darren Till. Big shout out to Darren Till for handing me my first ever fucking taste of the canvas. Darren Till was the first ever guy to drop me sparring and fighting. Big Stevie Robbo, a lot of rounds with him, caught me a few times. Big shout out to these guys who were like top elite fighters. Because getting dropped in sparring and feeling that, this is a bit uncharted territory. That prepared me for that night, because when I went down, I was comfortable. I never panicked. I never worried. I smiled to my corner. I was like, yeah, I'm sound. Don't worry. And I got up, and it worked out all right, because I ended up getting me a little bit of a mad up and finishing the fight. But look, everything worked out fine. Everything happens for a reason. The training camp went perfect. Again, look, getting dropped and getting there off inspiring off some top elite fighters. It prepared me for that. Do you know what I mean? Fucking everything went perfect, mate, if I'm being honest.
It was a great fight, and what a card to be part of as well, having your friend and brother Danny Christie on there as well. Unbelievable performance from most of the lads, and Feldman was over the moon with it all. Bakewell's over the moon with it all. Question there from KSB. Paul, the next fight, is it going to fight at heavyweight, or are you going to drop down to cruiserweight?
So you know what? I got a fucking lot of stick for not making weight. But look, I cut weight down from 120 kilos. I think people are forgetting how big I was, how heavy I was. You know, I was almost 120 kilos. I come down to 96. Now I could have made 93. 100% I could have made 93. But this was my first ever cut. And I think Stanoy's never fought at cruiserweight either. So my team and his team and Bakewell, we agreed to meet at 95.5. You get half a kilo, like 0.5 pound grace, which is 96 to 112. You know, so we agreed to fight at that weight, which is still a massive cut for me, but it wasn't hard. You know, so that was it was closer to cruiserweight than it was heavyweight, but it is heavyweight still, so I do get it. But I am a cruiserweight fighter now. That's what I am. You know, the next fight and for the foreseeable future, I will be cruiserweight. You know, me cutting down from 119.8 kilos was crazy because even though I haven't lifted the weight this year, I've done no weight this year. I've done the odd deadlift and strength and conditioning session, but I haven't lifted no weights like I used to. You know, and I haven't been able to shift that massive muscle. When I got down to 96 kilos, I was just under 15% body fat, which is quite low, you know. So to get down to the 93 on this cut would have been hard, would have been a total depletion, but I could have done it pretty easy. So when our teams got together and decided to meet at 96, I was fine with it. You know, they spoke to me and I said, yeah, look, sound. My nutritionist was, look, this is perfect for you because you don't, now we've got your next fight, you know, you will have dropped a lot of muscle. You know, there'll be a lot of muscle come off you because you won't be lifting weights this year, which I won't be lifting weights. I don't need to lift weights this year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be losing a lot of muscle. And then by the time it comes to the next fight, cruiserweight will be a fucking doddle. Like 96 was a doddle. I was only hungry for 2 days. You know, I was just eating healthy all the way through camp. By the time the week before that, I was sitting at 97 kilos. You know, so when it come to fight night, I just never ate anything. I just drank a lot of water. When I stood on the scales, I hadn't ate anything since breakfast the next day. So I was only practically hungry for nearly 2 days, 1.5 days. You know, so it was a fucking piece of piss. I never even did a cut. I just worked hard, trained hard, and the weight come off naturally, you know, and I get healthy. So the next one that I do, which will be easy, be 93. I am a cruiserweight fighter. That's what I am. That's what I'm coming down to. So I do understand the stick that I got and the shit that I got for not making weight, but I did make weight. The weight was 96, you know?
Yeah, but that's the thing as well with the weight classes in the BKFC at the moment. It's like when the UFC started 20 years ago, 25 years ago, however long it was, you know, it's like they had levels and then they introduced light heavyweight, you know, something between, you know, and the BKFC will do it eventually as well. You know, although there's cruiserweight, there's a low end of cruiserweight and there's a high end of cruiserweight, and it's the same as heavyweight, there's a low end of heavyweight. When Mick Terrell faces his next opponent, you know, his next opponent's got, I don't know if it's been announced yet. Has it been announced?
It hasn't, no, but he's looking at Ben Rothman. That's like, or what Rothwell. That's I think everybody's got a fucking rough idea who Mick Terrell's going to be fighting next.
Yeah. You know? So when you look at Rothwell and he's the high end of heavyweight, Mick isn't. You know, Mick's the lower end of heavyweight, so they're going to have to, you know, Mick's going to have to put weight on, and Rothwell's going to have to lose weight to meet in the middle, and that's how the BKFC weight classes work at the moment. So
yeah. Well, look, when I used to fight at heavyweight for the K1, it was 95. It was 96 kilos. If that was the mark. If you went under 96, then you were cruiserweight. You went down to cruiserweight. You know, so I used to struggle staying at 96. I used to struggle staying at the weight. And then when you were 96 plus, these guys were like 120, 130 kilos. I mean, I fought Lucas Probyak. He was 117, 120 kilo guy. He was fucking huge.
Yeah, he was massive.
Yeah, James Cannon, absolutely massive. You know, Cal Hewitt, fucking 6'8", giants, man, absolutely giants. And I used to struggle staying above the weight, like really struggle. Having pizzas the night before the fucking fight and that, you know, it's just before weighing, eating fucking cake and custard and drinking a shitload of water before weighing. Never mind fucking like trying to cut yourself. Do you know what I mean? It was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. But this weight stuff, I will be at 93 the next fight, 100%.
it's funny because I think Mick's even talked about this. I'm sure he's talked about it on a podcast or something where he was saying that in one of his fights, he ended up putting like 2 pairs of jogging bottoms on. He put stuff in his pockets and stuff like that just for the weigh-in because he wanted to weigh a little bit heavier. It also messed with the guy's mind a little bit as well to think that.
Yeah. There was a guy who was used to get these undies with little tiny pockets on the inside. And you remember beanbags? He used to get ball bearings.
Yeah.
So what he would do is he would bring them because there was a time when I fought, I think it was Chris Cooper, and I was just underweight. So you cut one of them open and give me these special undies to put all the ball bearings around the waistband and in the pockets. So when I stood on the scales, I was just above the weight. But when I come, I did a pizza and I did some chips and stuff like that. And I stood on the scales. I was 96.2, so we didn't really need to use it. But yeah, there's a load of tricks of the trade like that.
Yeah. KSB, yeah, absolutely understand. There was no stick intended.
I know KSB. I know KSB. I think I've seen him support me and all that, mate. I knew he wasn't getting me stick, but I have had stick. People calling me a cheat and not making weight and getting special treatment from the BKFC. But we were always going to get used to that. Me and Danny, special treatment.
It's not the case at all. Everyone's treated the same. But yeah, totally understand. There was no stick intended, mate. Thank you for your question. There's some tasty fights for you down at cruiserweight as well, isn't there?
There is, mate. There's some fucking real tasty fights. Obviously being around the BKFC as long as I have, I've got tremendous respect for all the top lads in the cruiserweight division. I mentioned it on Lose. Carl Thompson, David Oscar, Connor Cook. Is it Rob Boardman?
Rob Boardman, yeah.
Yeah. Darren Henry. I know he's away now, but Darren Henry as well. These guys, these people who I've admired and watched, have come so far in the BKFC. And supported them. I've been massive fans of them. What a pleasure it would be to share a ring with any one of them. Any one of them. I'm not fussed about who I fight. At the end of the day, I am a company man. People aren't going to like that either. Whoever they want me to fight, I'll fucking fight. I'm not getting any younger. I do believe that. I'm a nightmare for anyone. So whoever they want me to fight, I'll fucking fight. I'm more asked. I'll not say no. I'll never say no. Just line them up and I'll do my best to knock them down. Simple as that. Yeah.
The name I want to chuck at you there as well is Matt the Hammer Hodgson as well.
Matt, again, what a guy he is. Yeah, he dropped me. I thought he was light heavy. That's why I left him out. I thought he was light heavy, but no, he is cruiserweight as well, isn't he?
I think he can go either way. It's like I say, the weight classes and things like that.
Yeah,
there's a lot of guys kind of in between. I think he wanted to drop down to light heavy to fight Danny for the UK belt, but obviously Danny's given that up now. So
yeah, he messaged me. Well done, mate. Massive respect to him. Again, another fucking warrior. Being about. Fucking what he had for fucking 10 bare knuckle fights. What a fucking guy he is. Win, lose or draw, always goes out on his shield. The fights that he's involved in are always fucking good tear ups. They're always wars. All of them.
Yeah.
They're all warriors. They're all proper gadgets, proper men. And what a pleasure it would be to just fight them. Like I said, win, lose or draw any of these guys. I do believe I'm a fucking nightmare match for any of them. And win, lose or draw, they'll always have my respect and I'll always shake their hands at the end. It's not a problem.
Absolutely. There's some great news for yourself. You're going to become a granddad this year as well. Fantastic.
I am. So, being on the phone to Bakewell today and stuff like that, Bakewell, he's rang me, congratulated. I hadn't spoke to Bakewell after the show. I spoke to him on the night, had a conversation with him today, told him that I've got massive plans with my family this year. This wedding's been booked for 2 years, so I'm marrying the woman of my dreams on the 19th of September. My daughter is due to have a baby somewhere in August, so I'm going to become a granddad in August. And then one of my sponsors, big shout out to one of my sponsors who likes to stay anonymous, but one of my big sponsors, he's kindly offered to send all my family to Disneyland in October as a wedding present. So I do have a busy year. This has all been booked for a long time now. So it's like, where do I fit a fight in? I want to fight. Like, what am I going to do? I want to fucking fight. So, yeah, I've got to get all this family time out the way. not out of the way. I'm looking forward to spending family time. I'm looking forward to doing this with my family and spending time with my family. And then once all this is done, I mean, look, I'm back in the gym Monday. I'm going to be fit regardless of where I am in this world. I'm going to be training. I'm going to be fit, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be ready to go. But Family Fest has to be this year. You know, I promised all my family that I will be having a break from fights. Because I think the bare knuckle fight that I've had 2 fights this year already. You know, I had one at the beginning as well, you know, against a big, strong lad, Gareth Ayres. So kind of had no break from training and gymming it and stuff like that. So I'm going to spend a lot of time with my family up until probably the back end of October. And then I'll sit down and speak to the BKFC and see what the plans are.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing as well. A lot of people don't realise, look, it's not just you that goes through the fight camp. It's not just you that goes through the fight. It's everyone around you, your close family. They all go through it as well when you're coming home absolutely, you know, after training and hungry and whatever else, you know what I mean? It's them that are there and them that see it day in, day out. And, you know, the families don't get the, you know.
They don't. Look, I couldn't agree more. Like, look, my miss, I've been with my missus now 24 years. I've been with her since school. And she gets more nervous than me. You know, she's everything. She's my dietitian. She's my psychiatrist. She's my fucking shrink. She's fucking everything to me. You know, she sees my ups, my downs, my lows, my sideways. She sees me everything. Do you know what I mean? She's got to deal with all that. You know, she's everything. And then not only that, she's never, ever, ever missed any of my fights. Ever, never. She's never missed one of my fights, ever. You know, even from the little dingy clubs where we were travelling halfway across the fucking country, 5 hours down the road to fight down in Western Supermare against a fucking hostile crowd. She's there in my corner. She's there shouting, "Go on, Benner." You know, and it's funny because I don't hear no one else when I'm fighting. It's like all I hear is her voice. Even that night, the BKFC night, the crowd was going wild. I could only hear her. You know, when I got knocked down, I could hear her going, "Oh my God," like I could hear her. You know, the only time I ever hear anyone else is when I actually go back to the corner and then I sit and listen to me cornerman. But it's crazy. It's crazy how she becomes like the loudest in every single room when I'm fighting. It's like I can only hear her voice. So when I come home and I sit with her and I think, yeah, she deserves a break. You know, she definitely deserves a break after the life she's had with me. So I've promised her that. But just everything's going to be about the wedding now. Yeah.
It's funny that because, you know, you're saying there you're totally tuned into her voice and her saying things, but, you know, majority of the time all we do is try and tune them out. It's like, if you put the bins out, you're like...
Yeah.
But it's great, you know what I mean, that, you know, you feel that she's there and you know, congratulations to you both, and hope you will have an amazing day and things like that. But
thank you, brother.
Credit to her and the rest of your support system, your family and things that go through everything with you. I want to quickly talk about Street Beef, 6th of July. It's happening, concert.
Yeah, mate, this is going to be one of our massive shows. You know, we've already done 2 shows now that were massive success. I fought on one. It's going to be a massive success, this one. You know, we've got some good artists turning up. We've got some big fucking influencers turning up. We've got Big Nasty performing 6th of July. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. We've got pay-per-view links. We've got tickets are flying out. You know, everything's going to be amazing with this one. We're really looking forward to it. You know, we are wanting to develop Street Beefs into something big. You know, whether it be an influence, we go down the influencer way, or, you know, I think we want to be the stepping stone as well for other big platforms, i.e., you know, your mates, what's it called, the Kevin one, because that's a pretty big platform now, the one you've got going on the
WBKB, we're flying.
Yeah, like I said, you've got Street Beefs, a couple of Street Beef lads fighting on there now, you know, and we want to be similar to all these other big shows that are getting out there and be stepping stones for other fighters to get their name out there, especially on the social media side of stuff. You know, we've got Ben Hatchett, who's, you know, amazing with the social media stuff, you know, and I think what we want to try and do is get these fighters not just earning from fights, but earning from social media as well. You know, if they've got good fighters, good personalities, you know, we can help them build a YouTube channel, we can help them build, you know, Instagrams, TikToks, you know, and get their profiles out there where they can land sponsors and they can get active. You know, we're trying to focus on all that side of stuff as well, not just get these fighters turn up, give them 100 quid, get in there, knock fuck out of each other, see you later. You know, we want
Yeah,
to put some time and effort into them. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that all shows don't do that, but we are really focusing on the content as well. You know, for these guys, getting their names out there as well. You know, yeah,
that's what
yeah,
we're trying to do as well. The WBKB. It's not just a case of like exactly what you said. You turn up, you get paid, you disappear, kind of thing. You know, it's these lads have got a story to tell. You know, and everyone's
yeah.
story is different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you know what I love now about today? You know, back in the day, there was a lot of promoters that used to hate each other and they were fighting against each other. He's my fighter. What are you getting him on that show for? He fights for me. Fuck off. You know, at the end of the day, if we can get likes of us, YouTube Wars, yourselves, you know, all just working together and going, look, we've got a fighter here, use him, we've got a fighter there, use them. You know, maybe it's a potential fucking collaboration of, you know, slash Street Beast slash your promotion and get all the fighters together and, you know, your champions versus our champions, Sam and YouTube Wars, you know, all these promoters that I've sat down with and spoke to, like yourselves, you know, they're all wanting to work together, you know, not enemies, you know. Plenty enough room for. I think if one of us grow, we can all grow. I think if we all sit down and work together, sit at a table and think, look, this fight is good for this fight is good for that. He can match him up against him on our show. Then the winner of him can fight on our show. You know, all that stuff, mate. I think works well and gels well. Do you know what I mean? I think the days of promoters fucking fighting against each other and arguing with each other over certain fights is just fucking stupid, man. Stupid.
Yeah,
you know,
just put that in the comments as well. We're all here to work together, mate, and you know that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Because you know, look. What we want for our fighters is to go, look, you're 4-0 on this show, you're 3-0 on Street Beefs. Maybe we can shot you forward to Andy Bakewell. Maybe we can shot you forward to Dave Feldman. Maybe we can get you on a big show on BKFC if anyone's wanting you. You know, give these fighters a fucking chance to, you know, prove themselves and get on the big stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all I want for, because mate, I've done my time of fighting in fucking social clubs and leisure centres and fucking shitty places and that, man. Do you know, like, don't get me wrong, I'd probably fight again in social clubs and leisure centres. I probably would, you know what I mean? But I mean, I like to think that my time's done, you know, of fighting for 200 quid, 300 quid, selling 20 tickets and getting paid 50 quid or whatever. You know, the BKFC now is a dream come true for me. You know, it's a living dream. The type of money that I got paid that night was absolutely amazing. You know, oh man, my ears are standing up. It's surreal, you know, to be fighting on a show of that magnitude. You're live on telly, you know, having people messaging me, having fucking legends and superstars messaging me. Conor McGregor sharing my left hook, and you know, all this stuff. I'm sat and it's surreal, you know. And I'm thinking, wow, you know, these fighters need to believe in themselves. You know, whether they're fighting on your show, fighting on our show, you know, because I never started fighting professionally till I was like 23, 24. You know, I never got into it till late. You know, I never had no amateur fights. I never had no fucking perfect boxing background or K1 background. I just fucking started walking into gyms and fucking sparring and getting levered, and before you know it, I'm in the ring fucking competing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's great, like you say, that we can create a pathway with our promotions to the BKFC or something along those lines. Like you say, it's, you know, WBKB have done that with Bartek Kanaby, who was fighting on the Prospect show against Jack Culshaw.
Yeah,
he was the WBKB champion, and you know, pathways already there to get through to the BKFC and stuff. So it's brilliant. It is brilliant that we're all working together. Phil Scaife, any plans for a second fight in the BKFC this year? Well, you've already answered that earlier on, didn't you? You have to go back to the start and watch it all again.
yeah.
But Paul, I won't take up much more of your time. Appreciate it. You want teammates, coaches, gyms, sponsors that you want to give a shout out to? I know you've got loads. You probably thank them.
I've got a load of sponsors, but I will be doing a big shout out and a big post over the next few days for all my sponsors. They know who they are. If you're watching this, I will be advertising and doing a lot of posting over the next few weeks of what you have done for me, and you know, all the help that you have given me. Because look, without this journey that I've been on over the last 8 to 12 weeks in this BKFC camp, you know, is not possible without the guys backing me, you know, because I would have to be working 9 to 5, you know, paying my bills and then trying to train. You know, these guys are making my dream come true. All my sponsors, from the little ones to the big ones, anyone who's backing me in this camp and in this training on this journey, you will all be, you know, showed appreciation over the next couple of days coming up on all my social media platforms. Big shout out to Mark Downing, Stewie James, Paul Truscott, Mike Hines, my nutritionist down at Max Body. These guys are fucking absolute detrimental to the way I fight, to my fitness, to my diet, to the way I move, everything. Big shout out to Lions Den and Max Body Gym. And a big shout out to my gorgeous loving wife to be, Samantha Bailey, and my 3 beautiful kids, Demi Lee, Lennox, and Vienna. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, man.
As it's your first time on the Red Corner podcast, I'd like to finish the podcast off with this question. It's just, what does fighting? It's a two-pronged question. What does fighting mean to you, and why do you fight?
So, fighting for me means structure. Every time I think, why did I get into fighting? Because it put structure in my life. It took me from one path onto another. From the days I chose to fight, I left crime, I left gangs, I left drugs, I left addiction, I left all that negative shit behind and chose fighting, which put me on a positive path. I mean, look, even when I had the break from fighting, which was a 7-year break, I was still involved in it. I was still involved in coaching, PTing. I was still traveling around, sparring with guys. I was still talking about it on social media. It set me free. It gave me the power and the strength to be able to talk about my mental health, my addictions, because I was fixed. I was not through just fighting, but, finding God, finding fellowship, all because I chose to fight, so yeah, it means structure. That's what it means to me. It saved me from that life and brought me onto a different path.
Yeah. One last question, and then I'll let you go, I promise. What did you learn about yourself from that fight?
What did I learn about myself from that fight? I can get dropped on a fucking big stage and not worry. It's fucking mad because, listen, one of my worst things is ego, pride. It can turn me into a bit of a narcissistic prick. But I fucking battle every single day with that side of me. Do you know what I mean? So I can not be a selfish, horrible, obsessive prick. I like to think of myself as a nice, humble man today, family fest and all that stuff. But when you're fighting, when you're involved in putting your life on the line, becoming a warrior, swapping shop with another man, it's hard not to be an egotistical, prideful guy, So getting dropped on that night never did anything to me. If anything, it's made me proud of who I am. It's made me know that I'm capable of getting off that canvas, with a smile on my face and accepting it for what it is. It's a fucking fight, and it's possible I'm going to get fucking dropped. Yeah, that's what I learned from myself. I'm pretty cool with whatever happens in a fight. I always, my missus pointed it out when I decided to fight against her. Look, you've never lost. You're a mental health sufferer. You're an addict. What are you going to do if you lose? Think you're going to give yourself an hard time? Nah, I honestly believe that I wasn't. I just think, look, if I lose a fight, which is a possibility now, I'm getting any younger. If I do lose a fight, I think I'll be all right with it. At the end of the day, I'm 38-year-old. I'm not getting any younger. My best days are probably behind me. But if I lose, I know it will take some man to hand me that loss. It'll take an absolutely fucking fantastic fighter to give me that loss. And I'll be the first to fucking wrap my arms around him and shake his hand and say, well done. And I'll come away from it a better man, back to the drawing board, and I'll learn from it. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's what
so
they say.
I know I've got that in me. I've got that in me. And getting knocked down on that fight, I've learned that, you know what? I'll probably be able to handle it well. I'll be okay with it. That being said, I'm not losing any time, so I'm going to the fucking very top, by the way.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see you out there again, whether it's this year or next year. It can't be soon enough, really, for a lot of people. And I want to say a big shout out to everyone in the comments as well, giving Paul a lot of respect and love. I appreciate it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, brilliant, my man. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your weekend. And back in training Monday. Have all the best to you, mate.
God bless, my man. Take care.
Speak to you later. Shout out Paul Venis there. What a man. What a brilliant guy to talk to. He really is. Lots of guests lined up for next week that fought in the BKFC the weekend just gone. So go over to my Instagram. You can find out who my next guest's going to be. Jab the like button. Jab the subscribe button. And you yourselves enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much. Speak to you later.